It's a day in history that we all remember. We know where we were and we know what we were doing. It was the day that everyone stood still and watched the terror unfold. It's been almost 15 years since that horrible day, the day that so many lost their loved ones. Today I'm talking with Christian music artist and author Tammy Trent. In 2009 and 2010, the Christian Music Hall of Fame handed her the award for the Inspirational Female Vocalist of the Year, so many years after September 11th. But September 11th, 2001 was also a time that she would never forget because she too lost her husband a few hours earlier in a free-diving accident while doing missionary work in Jamaica. All the planes were grounded throughout the nation, and nobody from home could get to her as they searched for her husband. This is Today's Life, a story of unshakable faith. How has God pulled you through, and how's your faith grown since that time?
My faith was shaken to the core that day, standing on the edge of the water. I didn't question God's love for me. I didn't question hope. I knew I had to cling to it. It felt like, Terry, like I had practiced my whole life for that moment. Being raised in the church, being taught the things of God, trying to memorize scriptures, and then later on signing a record deal and then being in full-time ministry, speaking into the hearts of so many other people, trying to push them towards the things of God and reminding them, that God is in the middle of their circumstances. But now here I was in mine. Like I practiced for that moment my whole life. And it all came down to, do I believe what I've been preaching, teaching, talking about, singing about? Do I believe it? Do I take God at His word? Do I believe that He's in the middle of this with me? And I'm telling you, in those moments, any one of us that have gone through a life-altering moment, seasons, it's like we have all those questions where your faith is shaken, everything's shaken, you have a million questions for God, you're angry, you're frustrated, all of those things that just all came piling down in that moment of just, God, where are you when I need you? And how could this happen? How could this be a part of your plan? I felt like I had it all figured out. Like I knew the plan of God. I thought I knew the heart. I knew all that stuff in my own heart. And here I was in that moment and everything was shaken. But it's taking me, and it has taken me 15 years to get to this place with you, sitting with you here in this moment to tell you that, yeah, things were shaken in my world. And I'm still affected by the pain and by the tragedy and by my loss. But I'm also affected by the hope that I have in Jesus.
Yes.
Like pain is real, but so is hope. And because of that hope, I look to my future. I try not to live in my past because all that does is it keeps me in a place where I don't really want to live. This is my past. I've walked through things that it is, but what is doesn't have to be what was. Or rather, in this moment, it's just, I get to embrace a future and a hope. And so that's what I choose, and that's the place I choose to live in. So my faith continues to grow constantly.
What do you say to somebody that has lost a spouse or a young widow or a widower, and they're at that dark place, and they're lonely and they're scared?
Every weekend I've been out the last month here doing different women's events and women's conferences, and I have a chance to speak into the hearts of these people. I don't often feel, Terry, that I have all the right answers. In fact, most of the time I don't. If I'm being honest, it's like sometimes I look at people where they say, man, I just lost the love of my life 2 weeks ago and I'm here. Usually my first thing is like, I'm so proud of you for showing up. You are so brave. Thank you for coming and being a part of this weekend. And at the same time, I can sometimes just look at them and just think, like, I'm at a loss for words. Like, I don't know how to make it better for them. I don't know how to take...
you can't say anything.
Exactly. And if there's one thing I've learned is that touch, hold, hug is more powerful sometimes than our words. So the first response that I always have for somebody, especially if I'm face to face, is just hold them in a moment and hug them, because I know I needed that. Sometimes I needed less words, and I needed touch, and I needed hold, and to know that I wasn't alone. But at the same time, I hope that I'm living by example, that you can live again, that you can breathe again, that God will bring you through this, not somehow, but triumphantly. And then He can use your life, your story, to impact somebody else. There's rainy days. There's also sunny days. They both have their own distinct purposes. Life is going to change. There's always going to be change in our life. And it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, really, right? It's a matter of when.
Right.
But with a when comes a who. And who are you going to allow to walk out the journey of your life at that moment, in the darkest moment of your life? You have to build a foundation. Things will move, they'll shake, but the foundation of your life will always remain the same. And that foundation has to be built on the promises of God and who Jesus Christ is in your life and your relationship with Jesus. Standing on the edge of the water for me 15 years ago, I didn't have a Bible tucked under my arm, but I had the Word of God in my heart. I probably at that time wished I had known more scriptures, memorized more scriptures than what I'd actually had in that moment. But I will never forget how my relationship with Jesus affected my entire life at that moment. And it brought me significant hope. So I would tell anybody, first of all, if you're going through something tough, you've got to dig into truth and who God is in your life and who He says He is and who He will be in your life. That He will walk this out with you, that there will never be a time when you'll be alone, and that you will get through it.
Well, Tammy, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing your story of incredible faith.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
For more information about Tammy, please visit her at her website at tammytrent.com. We have an amazing God who loves you so much. He is the one who knows you best and loves you most. And you might be struggling with the same things that Tammy has gone through. But He tells us that we need to live by faith and not by sight. So keep your eyes focused on Him so that you too can share your story of unshakable faith with others.